Hello and welcome back to HCS Weekly. I thought, yo, this is my life. I have to go pro in Halo.
In my head, thought that was more efficient, and I guess I was right.
He was like the god. We would have to 2v1 like just to beat this guy. Like
I don't know, man. I'm reaching it. You're like, oh, let's see if guys like
A lot of Halo in my life, man. It's been a fun journey.
I love it. Hello and welcome back to HCS Weekly, your weekly destination for all things HCS. I'm your host, ShyWay, and we are back with our final week, our final episode before Halo Classic 2. We're finally here, guys. We got a couple days till we get there, and so excited to kick it off. Of course, we have our news. We might have our trick jump today. We're going to figure it out as we go, and then, of course, we have our interview to close out the show. Today's show is going to be quicker, a little snappier, just get to the brass taxes, talk about these teams and what to expect going forward with the event. Of course, all the equipment as well is already being prepared in the venue. So Tony's just working with the bare bones of what we got here to get this show up for you guys so we can talk about some Halo. Let's get right into it with the news. But before we jump in, I'm always forgetting, man, ! Grassroots in the chat will enter you into our weekly contest for the BR skin and nameplate giveaway. We do this every week. Just type ! Grassroots to enter yourself in. Wait till the end of the show. We'll announce the winner, and then we'll be back with our next episode for more of that. Let's get right to the news with MattyRums from NewCombo.com. Hey, Matty.
Yo, what's going on, dude?
Not much. Just finally kind of waking myself up and saying, like, okay, get your shit together. You got a Halo event coming up this weekend. My sleep schedule needs to be corrected. I need to be eating properly. I need to just kind of wake up. So here we're at Tuesday. We got a couple more days, and we got some more news, of course, as well. What's the first thing on the board today?
As usual, it's our playlist update. They added a new playlist to Halo 2 Anniversary that's ranked called Fast Slayer. It's BR starts 25 kills to win with a 5-minute time limit, and it has partial team matchmaking with, I think, a positive negative 15 rank for search for searching players.
Okay. That's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, and when you're saying partial team matchmaking, that means that if it's taking too long and you have 2 players on one side or 3 players on one side, 3 players on the other, it'll just start it with a 3v3 rather than a 4v3?
No, I think it's like if you're in a team of 3, it'll match you against a team of 3.
Right. Okay.
Solo.
Okay. That's fair. That makes sense as well. But I guess the objective here is just get in and out of games quicker, which is something that seems to be very hard to do, especially in Halo 3 hardcore. You got to have it feels like you have to have at least level 20 or higher to even just get games on a regular basis. Just because a lot of the people that are still playing are at that higher level. They're more the hardcore guys. Yeah. So yeah, this is good. You can get more games, get through them more quickly, hopefully. So just, fast-paced Slayer, 25 kills to win, and then on to the next. Should give it a try, see how it goes. Topic 2, we have Envor announces a Halo 5 BTB tournament. This is cool.
Yeah, he put up a post on Twitter. It's Friday, September 13th at 6 p.m. Central Time. There's a $340 prize pool, or I think it's $340 just for first place. I think it's winner take all.
Okay,
but
awesome.
We haven't seen a big team battle tournament in a while, so it'd be pretty cool.
Right, and I'm assuming this is with the new refreshed Forge maps that apparently look and play a little bit better than the original offering that they had.
Yeah, if you go to his Twitter, twitter.com/Envor, ENVORE,
okay,
he has a challenge link to a challenge page, and he has all the maps and everything.
There you go. Perfect. I'm not sure if there's. I know there's a Warzone community for Halo 5. I'm not sure how BTB was left because I know it was kind of the underdog as far as its recognition in Halo 5. It didn't get the same kind of treatment that the other modes got. But there are definitely people who still play it. So I guess this would just be fun for people just jumping in, like the SWAT Nation guys, trying to find another event to jump into,
cool.
Try to make some money there, and it's something different too. So we get some vehicles in the mix, which is always fun. So great stuff from Envor. We also have map migration for MCC as well.
Yeah. So as we've talked about, we're doing a one-time copy of all user-generated maps from Halo 3, Reach, and 4. So they announced that after the map migration, they did over 6.6 million maps and over 3 million game types that they copied, which is huge. But again, they won't be available until the game releases on PC.
Right. Right. And we don't know when that's going to be. But originally they said hopefully holidays, by the end of the holidays, we could start to see that. And we are seeing progress. We are seeing Fireflight now, which is nice. But 6.6 million maps. That's a ton of maps to jump into. So safe to say all your favorite old custom games will be there and be available when we finally get to play with MCC on PC. So that's only good news. We also have Halo Classic Top 12 seeds that were recently announced. We'll be talking about those a little later.
Yeah, UGC released the top 12 seeds. You have Tox, Mantra, which was Falling Esports previously, Aspire Esports, TBD, Lux Gaming, TM, which is now they announced today they're going to go as Fatal Ambition. They're representing that org.
Right.
Infinite, The Goobers, RBG Esports, Guardians Gaming, Carnage Gaming, and Side Effect.
Okay. And then, so correct me, you said it was the top 8. What do they get access to? The top 8?
They receive the master status, so they get they get media coverage on Media Day, which is Thursday. They get their 2 hotel rooms paid for. They get, I believe, catered food.
Some VIPs.
Yeah, and I think they get like a tour of Atlantic City or something like that.
A tour?
There was something else in there. I think it was something like that.
That sounds fun. Awesome. Yeah. So the top 8 teams get some extra benefits, get to have a good time, a bit of a cushy time, I guess, at the event. But ultimately a ton of incredible competition in those top 12 seeds. The top 8 look unreal. We've got, Frosty coming back as well. We got Shotzi coming in. We've got a lot of these young guns coming together, forming some pretty incredible squads, especially the last minute snipe down Ola and Frosty Eco squad, which is up in the air. Yeah,
that was when I saw that. I was like,
they don't even have a name. Yeah, they literally haven't figured that out yet. So a lot to talk about, and something I'll be talking about with Knighty in just a couple minutes. We also have our tournament results from this past week. What do we got here? Yeah,
we had a few tournaments going on. First was Blam Gaming's Halo Series Preliminary number 2. First place was Command Station and Bound. Second was Stress and Complexion. Third was Vemzy and Scariotic.
Awesome. So Blam Gaming is sorry.
No, go on. They have preliminary 3 is coming up. So.
Okay, perfect. I mean, they're doing a good job with the 2v2s. Of course, if you guys haven't seen that, you should definitely tune in to Blam Gaming. They've got Ryan Noob and Goofy casting it. I'm pretty sure Knighty has been casting it as well. So a lot of good talent there and pretty great production value for some Halo 5. That's, we don't see too much of too much competitive Halo 5 these days. So great to see. And again, we're jumping into another 2v2 by Bobetta. What's this?
Yeah, so there's a community member player, Bobetta Feta, I think is his Twitch handle. He did a 2v2, and he broadcasted it on the Halo Draft League channel. First place was Swish Fives and the Gold Star VR. Second place was Command Station and Pink Hens Hurts. And third was El Halo Elite and Turtles.
Right. So just like Blam Gaming, you got Bobetta with Halo 5 2v2s, and now I'm seeing a third one. So I'm eating my own words here. We got 3 different options for Halo 5 2v2s. It's EAEL. What's this?
Yeah, EAEL, or European Amateur Esports League, had their first tournament, which was a Halo 5 2v2. And first place went to Legends and Sika. Second was Warlord and Batchford, and third went to SLG and Shady.
If this is not enough information to say that we need a 2v2 playlist like ASAP, that I'm not sure what is, like, on top of what's coming this weekend and all these little events going on the side. I feel like the 2v2 playlist will become kind of the main competitive standard for the guys who are still playing the game. They probably just be running 2s, which honestly seems like a good time. I'm excited to try that out when it hopefully hits. Melbourne Esports Open Halo 3 FFA as well.
Yeah, so in Melbourne, Australia, they had it's the biggest esports event in the continent. Okay. But they had a Halo 3 free-for-all on Saturday and Sunday. For Saturday, first place went to CR Alejo.
Not going to correct you.
Yeah. Second went to Berserk. Third went to Tay. And then on Sunday, first place again was CR Alejo. Second was Berserk. And third was Gohan.
Nice. So Melbourne Esports continuing their Halo 3 events. They just had their FFA, and I'm sure there's more on the way. Of course, all this is on noobcombo.com. I like how you have your Noob Combo links with everything that we have here on our sheet. We also have upcoming tournaments. Of course, this weekend is the big one, but anything else to look forward to?
Yeah, Sunday, Europa Halo has their Team Takedown number 2. It's a Halo 5 4v4.
Right.
And then there's a new tournament organizer, Live for the Game, is having a Halo 5 online 2v2.
Okay, a
And
fourth
then,
one in the ring there.
yeah, they're popping up left and right.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday, it's probably going to be going on, I think, during the show. But there's, like I mentioned, Blam Gaming's preliminary number 3 for their Halo series.
Right, Land Gaming just continues what they're already doing. So great to see. We've got upcoming events, of course. The big one is the one we're looking forward to this weekend, and we are so close, just a few days away. Matty, I'll see you there.
Yes, you will, of course.
Awesome, man. I can't wait. That's going to close our news for today, and the next time I see you will be in Atlantic City.
Yes, in person.
Yeah, see you around, man.
Take it easy.
All right, guys, that closes our news for today's episode. Unfortunately, we do not have a trick jump. I think we got some internet issues going on from ClearlyMe right now, but he will be back in our future episodes. We're just going to get right into the main attraction here. I've got my chat with Knighty, who's also a caster or observer and analyst coming up at this event. Welcome.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Not much. Yourself?
I just got home from work, and I'm dead tired, but I'm really excited about the event this weekend, and I can't wait to talk about it with you.
Yeah, man, and I can't blame you. You told me you had like 3 to 5 hours in traffic just getting here. Is it that bad on the regular for you? Like,
well, Atlanta right now, obviously a lot of people, the evacuees from Florida and the coast from the hurricane
right.
are coming up. And also we've got like some games going on. And then we also have Dragon Con. So yeah, there's a ton of people in the city, and it's just, it's ridiculous. So I had to drive back home to get changed for work. I had to go all the way over just to the studio again, and then when I was done, I had to race across town to get here in time for this. So
oh my God.
All in all, today it's been about 6 hours. Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time out of your way to come
welcome.
do this. I know you mentioned Dragon Con, so there's tons of stuff going on. We got a hurricane going on, like it's just crazy in the U.S. right now. But Dragon Con sounds pretty fun. You were just there, and you're with High Rise Studios?
High Res, yeah. They're the studio that runs the professional league for Smite and Paladins.
Right.
Yeah, and I've been working for them. I've been contracting for them for about a year now, or pretty much all year.
Awesome. So what was that like being at Dragon Con? It's a good time.
Dragon Con is nuts. Like if for all the people that haven't been there, it's basically one giant geeks and freaks nerd party. That's basically what it is. Like a ton of cosplay.
Were you in cosplay at all?
Yeah.
No?
Oh,
you were?
Heck no.
Heck no. Okay.
Man, I can't sew. Like, I mean, the most I would
be
do
that
is,
guy who buys the costume on the internet. You just end up
exactly.
spending way too much money.
That's me right there. I would put the Master Chief helmet on, and I'd be like, I'm done.
The legendary edition Master Chief helmet was too small though, right? It doesn't fit on a
right.
Remember the Halo? Yeah.
But they've got some good ones now though, and people make their own custom ones that are just out of this world, and yeah, it's awesome. Like the Dragon Con is I think one of the largest conventions in the world.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous amount of people.
Yeah. I mean, these conventions in general are just becoming so commonplace. So we've got cons and expos and PAX and whatnot. So it's pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, you could segue that into our Halo Outpost.
That's that exactly as well. Did you go to that at all?
Dude, I planned on making it down to the one in Florida, but unfortunately I didn't get to go. I really want to make it out to one of those someday.
You know, I heard Orlando was kind of like their warm-up. Like, it was their first event to kick off Outpost, and it got better and better as it went along. Like, I was talking to Ubernick and Reachway about it, and apparently the last one was just incredible. Like, it was perfectly organized. The space was more contained, so you just go from, like, attraction to attraction.
Oh, man.
It
apparently is, like, the shit. Like, everyone's going, and it's just blowing up, and, like, I mean, Halo, I think I read a list once, and it's like the top fandoms in the world, like all the franchises. It goes like Pokemon at the very top,
right,
and then you go Star Wars, Marvel, blah blah blah, and it's like I think Halo fits in around the top 25 mark, which is pretty unreal. I mean, to think that Halo is that big.
It is incredible. It just goes to show how massive it was at that time. It was at its pinnacle. That the name still kind of lives on, even though we've kind of taken a bit of a dip as far as.
Oh no, not at all. Halo's growing, dude. Like as far as that community, the one that reads the books, does all of the story. I would say that it's never been this big ever. Like it's consistently growing. It's
so
just
the broader
it's
franchise,
esports.
yeah.
It's the esports.
The esports aspect that's taken the dip. Okay, fair enough. But that's good to see then, right? So Halo, as a brand, still very well recognized and could shoot back up into prominence like instantly. Which is what
now that
all
we're
kind of
going on the
hoping
PC, I'm very confident.
Yeah, and I think the Steam wish list kind of tells you everything you need to know about how popular this could be. I don't know how long that popularity is going to last, if it's going to taper off quickly, but second behind like Cyberpunk is pretty incredible.
Yeah, really.
As a Steam wish list, yeah. So of course you're keeping up with Halo in the meantime. You never stop. You're always doing things on the side. Apparently, you're also working with Blam Gaming, casting some events. How's that been going?
Oh man, I love those guys. Those guys have been so cool. They've been really dedicated to making sure that the community gets what they want, and they're also trying to get better at their own craft. Like the guy who is the producer, he is just so professional, and he tries so hard, and he's been getting better and better. He's actually a full-time TV producer, so I mean he knows what the hell he's doing. Like he's top notch. Yeah. And so he brought all of his skills and knowledge into Halo, and Halo 5 with the observer mode, despite some internet issues or whatnot, but is very easy to work, and it's very easy to manage a tournament that way. And we've never really had that ever. Like Halo 5 is the only game we've ever been able to do it with, and now from what you were saying with Matt is that all these grassroots tournaments are popping up left and right. Right. And it is the best to see that. Yeah. That observer mode is very helpful to see. Unfortunately, like you were saying, the way that things look server side is a little wonky at times. Like shots not fully connecting with their targets and whatnot. But the ease of access is so incredible. Like, how do you cast it? Because I casted something like this before, and it was through Mixer, just because of the latency being so low on Mixer that you could cast it without having any kind of special setup. You just watch the broadcast on Mixer and talk as you watch it. Yeah, I mean, that's one way you can do it for sure. But the way we do it is or the way I've always done it really with Team Beyond and UGC and, pretty much anything I've ever done it with, I've done it through my Xbox. I'll get into a game and I'll observe it, and I'll get to flip through freely, but the producer will have it recording on his side. So he'll be the one that you're seeing. And meanwhile, like when I'm like casting with like Walshy or somebody, me and him will be like pinging back and forth, telling the producer where exactly we want to be looking or who we want to see or what's going on. And that's just, it's simple. Yeah. And it's one of those things that I really hope they continue in a big way with the next Halo title, is like not just having it there and having it easily accessible, but also having it look just as good as your LAN experience or your main POV experience that you would get. Well, that's tough. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah. Pretty much every game has an issue with that. It's not just Halo. It's perfect. No, it's hard to be perfect. There's internet issues. So they get it as good as they can. I'm pretty sure Halo will improve. That's only our first, we had a spectator mode and then they made the observer mode. And so now if there's another one, that's literally the third iteration. Yeah. So they've had some time to iron it out. Hopefully it's a little better. Now, on top of that, I saw a recent tweet from you. It looks like we know Halo Classic is coming up this weekend, but we might already have a confirmation on what's following Halo Classic. Got a bit of a tease about DreamHack. Here's the tweet that Tony's showing here. This is just the photo for it. So what did they actually said in the tweet? What would you guys think of having having Halo at DreamHack Atlanta again or something like that, right? It was like a tease. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, Atlanta is such a hub for pretty much the whole world. I mean, the airport pretty much is accessible from anywhere you can think of, and in the nation. And it's a lot cheaper to get tickets down here. It's a pretty good location as far as in the city. Like you can get to anywhere within 30 minutes. And that's really good because I mean some airports are super out of the way, but it's just an awesome place, and Atlanta's been booming lately. So having DreamHack Atlanta host Halo is always going to be a good thing. I think we have one of the highest recorded Halo 5 turnouts for a LAN at one of the DreamHack Atlantas. So that,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a proven place to have a successful LAN.
Yeah, definitely. I think that last event pulled a pretty good turnout, and that happened around November, December. So if I had to make a prediction, I feel like in that same kind of time frame, we could see our next Halo 3 tournament, which would be pretty exciting. So a nice little tease there. And like you said, Atlanta, very accessible, good place for everybody, especially the NA players to all get to and compete and have some good competitions. Yeah, so we have Halo events on the way, and then we have our big one. And let's get right down to brass taxes. Let's take another look at the top 12 seeded rosters, and we'll just talk a little bit about them. I've got the actual teams for each one of these, or the members in each team. What are you laughing at? The Goobers. I don't even. Let's see who the Goobers are. The Goobers
let's
are
get some rosters up here.
Yeah, we got Zerka, Cloud, Omega, Porky J. If you don't have the actual rosters in front of you, here, what I can do is real quick in the chat. Okay. I'm gonna copy paste it. Bam. Grab that, or you can just look at it yourself if you like.
Perfect. Okay, got it.
Right. So even if we just go from the top here, we've got, of course, Tox Gaming, Snakebite, Lethal, APG, Royal 2. I would still predict as our winners of the event, just considering how dominant, how consistent they are. Yeah. They're still together. They're, I mean, of course, minus APG swapped out for Frosty, but APG's been with this Halo 3 squad for the longest time now, so it's not yeah, and their consistency hasn't waned. They still seem to manage to maintain.
You've got to put in, the conversation that Lethal and APG have teamed for a long time, have been friends for a long time, and that they're just an incredible team together. Super aggressive, always know what type of play to get into. They're always in the shit. Like when you're watching Lethal, he is making the plays to win the game, and I'd say that's where he really shines. Like he is just super strong at being relevant to the objective and to the clutch play to win the game. I mean, I've never seen anything like it really. And there's a reason why he is one of the, most winningest players in all of Halo, because I mean, he's on a ridiculous streak right now. He's still on this massive streak of not placing third.
Yeah, the whole squad is really, and I was going to expand on that with Snakebite and Royal 2, but even, like what you're saying about Lethal, I think he was labeled as a flex player, was kind of his his role, is that he can put himself into any role. He could pick up the sniper, he could be an objective player, he could be a slayer, and he kind of works in all of those categories really well. And then you have players like Snakebite and Royal 2 who have been competing together since like their inception. Practically, they've been a duo forever, and since they've been a duo, I don't think they've ever placed outside of the top 3, which is incredible. I can't remember if that's
they did.
It was like one event or something.
It was like one or two events in Reach, and they were like still top 8. So they're still amazing. And then they teamed for the championship, the national championship in 2011 in Providence, and they got second place within the clutch. Like, how did that happen? But
I'm sure we can talk to him about it on the weekend.
Yeah, of course we will. But I mean, it was just amazing. And then the next event, they win it, beating the God Squad.
Yeah. So I mean, just Snakebite, Lethal, APG, Royal 2. This squad is so dominant, so consistent that regardless of any other team that follows, and there's some pretty good teams that are being put together last minute, I would still put them as my number one. It's too safe a pick, But they could be upset. The chance is there, and that's the exciting factor of this tournament here. Now, we have Mantra as well. I'm not sure if Mantra is an official esports.
Is it Mantra or Mantra?
Mantra, true.
I mean, knowing Ace,
Mantra,
I would probably put Mantra.
Mantra, true. I'm going to mispronounce a whole number of words here, so just keep me civil if you don't mind. But so this would be what was previously Fallen Esports.
Yes.
You've got half of it. You got Neighbor and Ace, exceptional players, and then you have Boo Boo Doo and Demon D. So a pretty interesting mix of talent here. What do you think?
Well, I mean, obviously Frosty and Eco was the big deal with Neighbor and Ace. Neighbor and Ace are players who have been at the top. They've won events. One of them is a global champion. He beat literally everyone in the world. Like
the Halo 4, we just saw that recently on Twitter too. The 1v1s.
Demon D was a world champion in Halo 3. Like, I mean, these guys all know what it takes to win. Boo Boo Doo Boo was a world champion in Halo 5. So I mean, this roster is insanely good. They know how to perform. It's just about whether they can at the event or not, because I'm not exactly sure when I look at that team how well they're going to gel.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I could go one way or the other. I've watched them a lot online in the they'll turn off their streams and they'll start talking to each other about their loss, and I'm not sure, you don't know what happens behind closed doors. They could have some some issues, or it could be very productive, and they could have learned a lot from these online tournaments and do amazing on land. There's a lot of issues with online play, and you never know what could happen at a live tournament.
Yeah, definitely correct. I'm not really sure what to expect from this team. Of course, individually, they're all very talented. Neighbor and Ace will work together very, very effectively. They already have that history. Demon D's had a pretty interesting trajectory through Halo 3. Like, he kind of was Halo 5. It took him a while to kind of get to that point of prominence.
He was the hardest grinder.
Exactly. And then at the end, he was one of the best players. And then
Halo
he got
3 came top 5? I think he got 5th place at one of the last Halo 5 events, which was pretty great.
Yeah. Kind of coming out of nowhere, like coming back into the franchise.
Yeah.
And then he's jumped around a bit in Halo 3. I know just previously he was on what was the Denial Squad, which Denial, were a very dominant team just back at the beginning of the year. So he's kind of been jumping around to higher profile rosters. Like, I would say he continues to improve his standing with the players that he's playing with, now playing with world champions. So good work for him. We'll see how they all gel together. Boo Boo Doo Boo, I'm not sure if he's actually a world champion. I think he got very close, right? Because he wasn't with Peak Splice. He was with near Peak Splice, basically, when Splice was like almost there, when it was like Fallicated, Boo Boo, Shotzi, Renegade, and then he got swapped out. He ended up on, I think, like Envy, and I don't know if he quite made it to the world champion status, but still, world champion.
I'm pretty sure it was Eco. It was Eco.
Yeah, Eco, Shotzi, Renegade, and
Stellar. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So
he almost got there, but he could have been it. The thing that, and I've talked to Boo Boo about this, and you could have changed him out with Stellar or Eco. I think they still would have had that same power squad. I think it still would have been just as strong as they are. Boo Boo's
but they did upset the big roster, though. They upset the two timers. They did. Frosty.
While Boo Boo was
Optic,
in the squad, they did. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, that's pretty big, too. So, they all know what they're doing at the highest of high.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident in that squad to do pretty well. I don't think they're an event-winning team. I wouldn't put them as an upset. Fair. I don't think they're going to cause any upsets. I think there's just too many other teams that look way too strong.
Yeah. Yeah, especially considering the fact that they're very recently created. And I mean, if they had a little bit more time to kind of gel together, we can get a sense of where they would land, and maybe we could say there's an upset. But hard to say, considering how recently they were created and everything else that's available. And even just jumping on to the next one, Aspire Esports, you got Straight Sick, Ares, Shelly, and Fantasy. Now, Straight Sick, Ares, and Shelly, these three have been together since Halo 3 was brought back. But Fantasy is an interesting addition. Tell me a bit about what you think of this roster.
Well, this was the roster that got second at the first one, and they had Commonly. And
they did.
Now they have Fantasy. Fantasy, would I say he's a better player than Commonly? Not so much, because Commonly has more experience. Okay. Commonly, just has done a lot more things within the scene, so you've got to give credit to Commonly. But Fantasy has a pretty bright future. I mean, he's done some pretty awesome things already. He did really good at the Invitational. Yep. Golden Modem Squad did fantastic job, almost upsetting Tox by like 1 kill. Fantasy knows how to compete against the best. And a lot of people would say individually, he is the best in Halo 3. Like, he's just been grinding it nonstop ever since, everyone quit. So he was that guy that you wanted to play with and against, because that would always escalate you and make you better. And I actually played with him, because there was a lot of time in between games where, we weren't really doing anything, and I would always play with Fantasy, and I was just amazed at him. I was like, man, you are the best online player I've ever played against. And he was like, yeah, I know. And he was so humble.
I know.
Like, I mean, he was very confident in himself, and, he would goof around. But, like, he was also very humble about it, and, like, because he didn't want to, like, jinx himself or anything. He wanted to actually prove himself. So now he's getting that chance with this team especially, and I think he's going to perform very very well. I remember the first time he actually got his opportunity to play on LAN. It was at a local Halo 3 free-for-all tournament, and I think Alumni and his brother Hoax went up there, and so did Napoleon, one of the Halo Reach tournament winners, went up there, and he was pretty good at Halo 3. He won one of the Halo 3 free-for-all tournaments. And then Monster, the pro Halo 3 player, Monster.
Been playing some Fortnite now as well, right?
No, not that Monster. That's that's the pro Halo 4 player. There's a pro Halo 3 Monster who also, he's playing Halo 2 now with Gunshot. But anyways, they all went to this LAN, and Fantasy won it. And he was destroying. And I was just like so amazed by this kid. And ever since, I've just been like just wowed by everything he's ever done. Like the DreamHack 2v2 tournament versus Roy and Flamesword, where he got that 360 spinning double kill.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
And they won the tournament too. So yeah, I mean, pretty incredible performance. And this must be part of the fact that like just the advantage of being in Atlanta is you get to see the growth of so many of these like vital Halo players. Like you're talking about his first LAN. Like I would never be able to call back to an experience like that, but that's pretty incredible. But you're right
I have advantages of being old. Thank you.
Of being old. Well, just being in the right location. Come on, and also being
old,
I know. But yeah, so what you were right as far as if you compare competitive experience of Commonly versus Fantasy. Like Commonly's got more accolades. He's got multiple Halo title experience. Like he did amazing in Halo 5, and now he's on Halo 3, and he's continuing to be a very powerful, prominent player. The thing about Fantasy, though, is you were also saying, like, Fantasy was grinding when nobody else was grinding Halo 3. Like, he had his head down 100%, dedicated to Halo 3 when everybody else is playing Halo 5, and now he has his chance to shine, and he's got all the experience. He's been playing it, more than these guys have. So I feel like he's very comfortable, especially recently. He's been showcasing some incredible plays. Like, I broke down one of his plays against Roy in Lunchbox, where he is just lasering people in those 2v2s. The weird thing about Fantasy is that since his inception in competitive Halo 3, as far as like in the public eye, he's always been with Gabriel. I've never seen Fantasy without Gabriel, right? It was Fantasy and Gabriel that won the first 2v2 tournament. It's Fantasy and Gabriel on GMS that were one of the top squads. They're always together. So now that he's not with Gabriel, what does that change as far as his ability to mesh with this new squad? I'm not sure. Of course, he's very individually talented, but it's interesting to see that they've split from each other at this point in time.
Yeah, it is actually. I think one quote comes to mind, and that's, "Captain, I'm a peacock. You got to let me fly." I think he's going to wings. I think he's going to really, he's going to spread his wings. Exactly. Yeah. And he's just going to really do amazing. Gab is an interesting fella. I think Gab is very talented, very good player. But Fantasy let loose just is going to be unreal because Gab is very critical of his teammates and he likes to stay on top of them at all times. But Shelly and Straight Sick, very laid back, very, very individually skilled. I think Aries is probably going to be the vocal leader on that team. He's going to bring up any major issues that happen. And Mason has always been very good about that. If you look at his history, he's had so many different rosters, and he's never really stirred up much. He's always really good at knowing where to fit in any team he's on, whether that is to sit back and just slay or to take a leadership role, to be the support guy. He does whatever it takes to win. He's actually a local. He's from Georgia, so I know a lot about Aries, and I think Fantasy is going to be in great hands with him. And I think this is a team that could possibly take it all the way if they all clutch up and they're all playing their A game.
Yeah. Yeah. So do they have that upset potential? Would it even be an upset? That's the thing, is because we've seen players like Straight Sick, Aries, and Shelly so close to number one so many times with Halo 3 that, it's just if they're on that day, it could be a win for them, depending on whether or not they're 100% on their A game, like you said. And yeah, I mean, Shelly has been a star performer ever since we saw him play, just out of nowhere. Straight Sick, just incredibly talented. He's wanted this win for a long time, and he's not going to back down. So really excited to see what Aspire Esports comes up with. And then next we have TBD. They don't even have a name yet, but this is the squad that everybody has their eyes on. This is the squad that could have the upset potential and could take the tournament. This is Eco, Frosty, Snipedown, and Ola. What do you think of this?
This team, man. This is like one of those teams you just look at and you want to break it down and you want to say, okay, so Snipedown and Pistola, they were second place Halo 5 players there towards the end of Halo 5. They took a championship in the Pro League. They won some events with Hook. They were at the top. Snipedown and Pistola are probably top 5 of the best players of all time. In my opinion, I think Pistola individually is the greatest Halo player of all time. Eco and Frosty, they were at the top in Halo 5. Frosty won the last World Championship. Eco won a World Championship, was on one of the most dominant teams, if not the most dominant team, because Tox did not have an answer there when they were doing their little 2v2 sparring matches. So, I mean, these guys, all 4 of them are so hard to play against, period. Playing against each one of these players, I mean, you look at Tox and you kind of feel the same way, but like if Lethal or APG are having bad games, like it's possible if you are a Snipedown or a Frosty or an Ola or an Eco to just run over them. Whereas if you are... if you're playing against these 4 players, it doesn't matter if they're having a bad game. They're going to adjust to make sure that they're allowing their teammates to have an even better game. It's just a lethal lineup. It's all going to come down to how much Pistola is wanting it, because there's a lot of times I've noticed that Pistola just does not want it, and he's not making the same plays he normally would. And you know, Eco is wild. Like, we got to see what he was made of at UGC, and I was so blown away. I was like, dude, this guy can do it all. Like, there's not a Halo this guy's bad at. Maybe Halo 1, but I mean, you know, you can't blame him for that one. I mean, he probably
That's just a different game altogether.
It's weird.
In a great way, though. But yeah, so this squad, and even though they formed so recently, they don't even have a name yet. We're still putting them on that pedestal, and that they could take this tournament. They're just that talented, like you said. So I mean, and yeah, like Frosty was crowned the best player. I believe he got the award for the best Halo 5 player, and then Eco, they won the last World Championship on Splice. Snipedown, I would say I would put Snipedown as my top Halo 3 player. I'd say, just in terms of
top Halo 3 player ever.
Yeah, I'd think so. I just think he's just so incredible with the BR, with the sniper. He's just lasered all the time. He's very versatile in how he plays. He's just a force to be reckoned with, and he's carried it over to other games too. Like he's killing it in Apex Legends. There's tweets saying that he's aimbotting on controller because they're talking about aim assist and whether or not it should be nerfed on controller. It's a whole other thing. But Snipedown is starting these discussions because he's so damn good on controller. And then we have Ola, who's the wizard. Ola is just so incredible and just so, you know, like just holistically understands this game.
And I can't imagine these guys won't gel. Like I've always said it. You know, if you put 4 players that don't have like a real attitude issue, like you know, it's hard to get around an attitude issue, but if you have 4 people that are all like, you know, having a good day and they're having, you know, they're playing well, there's not much you can, you know, you can't really say that they're going to have chemistry issues. Like the best way to describe teamwork is not 2 people trying to force a play to happen. It's 2 people making 2 individually very intelligent plays and having them happen at the same time.
Just naturally, they understand the flow of gameplay between each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's something that they're definitely capable of, and we've seen that time and time again. Now they're all together. And the thing is, and I don't want to knock on Roy and Lunchbox because they are so incredibly talented. They carried that over to Halo 3 once again and showcase that they're still just as good as I don't know about just as good, I guess just as good, if not better, considering the fact that everybody's leveled up. But the one thing that I have to say about Roy and Lunch is that they don't get to put in the same dedicated time that they used to, right?
Yeah,
like
I mean,
they have lives,
they have priorities.
Right, they have wives, they've got full-time jobs, they're dedicated to that, and then in between they jump on, they do their scrims, they give it their A game. They're still very talented, but you replace them with Eco and Frosty, who not only are they incredibly individually skilled, they're playing nonstop. Like Frosty's like putting on 10-hour live streams. I don't know if you've been watching any of his streams.
Oh, hell yeah. He's the only guy I watch.
Yeah.
I love watching that guy. I mean, I go from stream to stream, but I usually stay on Frosty's because Frosty just keeps it real fresh. Like he'll go from Halo 3 over to Halo 5, and then sometimes he'll just chill with the chat, and he's just a really nice guy. I got to see him at the World Championship, Call of Duty one, and he's a true professional. He's got great personality. That guy's going to go far as hell. I think he's going to really put a lot of time into Call of Duty, but he's coming back for this one, and I mean, hopefully he gets the preparation that he needs to get back to the top, because I mean, he is just a wild talent. Like, he's up there with like Formal, you know, the ogres, you know, whoever has gone from different games like Snipe Down, you know, he can go pretty much to any title and dominate.
I believe, was Formal not his inspiration? He wanted to be like the next Formal or whatever. I remember him saying something like that, like he would dominate in Halo, go to COD, but I know Halo is his main focus, his main passion, so I expect him to come back when that opportunity arises. But
I don't feel like he's one of those guys that would be like, I want to be like him. I feel like
because he's so incredible as he is. Why would he need to? Right? Yeah, that's fair. But I swear I overheard him saying something like that. But maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, exactly. So just big things to expect from these guys. Overall, really exciting team. And like you said about jumping into his streams, it's so entertaining. I feel like I'm always learning something. That's the biggest thing too. Like, even when he's playing Halo 3, something about his play style in Halo 3 is it's different. Like, he's taking advantage of the movement mechanics and every little, you know, individual mechanic in the game in unique ways that players aren't thinking of. And I'm constantly learning. And I'm constantly realizing things about Halo 3 that I might have overlooked.
One of the biggest things about Frosty and Halo in general is just his super awareness. The guy just has that natural ability through, you know, however he is. I feel like he's just that much smarter than the competition. Is why his awareness is so much better. You know, it's not because he has the greatest shot. It's not because, you know, he puts the most time in. It's just because he understands the game in all aspects. He approaches it in every single way and really studies the game. And it's awesome to watch. Like, I know in the, you know, Clutch, he'll talk to you all day about coaching him and just how much of a dream it was to coach Frosty.
Yeah, and how he made him who he is. Or he says that about Royal 2, apparently. He made him.
He'll say that all day about
everyone. So big things to expect from TBD. We'll find out what their name is if they haven't already announced it. Next, we have Lux Gaming. It's Goofy, Ryan Noob, Gilkey, and Gabriel. What do you think of this roster?
Well, looking at all these rosters, actually, I'm gonna take a quick look. I don't see any teams that I would probably put in my first place. Obviously, Trippy and Penguin.
That one could be an upset squad, right?
Took the 2v2 in Chicago. So if Commonly and Rain were to step up and really show out, that could possibly be like a dark horse team. I don't believe Falcated, Shotzi, or Sabinator are going to be able to hang with the top guys. That I just don't see it happening whatsoever.
After what we saw from Infinite in the last event, that's why I'm wishy-washy on it as well, right? Because they didn't quite make it there.
No, I don't see it happening. And then the Goobers, which is the greatest name ever. I want them to win, but you know, I've seen Zerka play. Zerka is great. I get to play with him online, and you know, he's a great talent. And I guess that's Cloudy Cloud, which
I assume so. Yeah,
one of the greatest Halo 3 players ever. Yeah. He got second place in the Halo 2 National Championship. I mean, the guy is certainly talented in all the Halos, and you know, he's a legend. So I don't know how much preparation he's putting in. And then there's Omega, who Omega is one of the scariest online Halo players of all time. Like, if you match him in matchmaking, you run. You don't fight. It's like running into an agent in the Matrix. You run.
He's a dangerous guy. Porky Jade, is he just as bad online?
He's or even worse. I think a lot of people would probably say Porky J is the greatest online player, because I can't even remember if he's ever even been to a LAN. If he shows up to this LAN, this might be his first LAN, which I can't imagine that's true, but somebody, you know, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that would be huge.
Okay. Yeah, especially if they can really kind of you know, make some waves. So of course the talent is there, but they're stacked against the competition. There's
it's tough.
Pretty incredible competition.
Oh, and then we got Rowan and Scary.
Yeah, tell me about, because RBG was a European squad. Is this still a European squad? I don't know. I don't recognize these names too
No,
closely.
this isn't European. Rowan and Scary are
Right.
from a team called Variable, which actually had Omega and a guy named Swipe. It was Swipa, Omega, Rowan, and Scary, and they pretty much never lost a matchmaking game in their life because their host was like absolute dog shit. So we've got Employee and Display on their team, who I've watched them at a 2v2 LAN up in Philadelphia, and they're actually very solid players. So that team could do really well. Rowan and Scary are good players. They've proven themselves at a tournament, and that could be I like that roster right there.
Yeah. I don't know them personally, but I'm going to take your judgment on that. I'm sure I recognize the names. I wouldn't be able to put gameplay to it to support it, but it definitely seems like a strong one as well.
I have too much gameplay against those guys.
Yeah.
Nightmares,
this one's,
man.
I find Guardians Gaming to be kind of interesting as well. You've got Queen, Wikachu, Gun-Type, Black Halo, God. Interesting pairing, seeing like Gun-Type has had a hell of a journey through Halo 3, because he was on GMS, was he not? Like on a top 2, top 3 squad to start.
He was bouncing around.
He was in Europe. He was on a European squad as well. He's like,
yeah, he's very solid. He comes from the age where Halo Reach and 4 were at the top, and they were having AGL tournaments and stuff, and he was still on Halo 3. So he's one of those guys.
Right.
And he just is very passionate about Halo 3. And I don't know. I would have assumed that he would have had like a team that was filled with people that were higher up.
Right.
But what I'm seeing right now is that Queen, Wikachu, and Black Halo God, they all land together. So I mean, that's a good group of friends right there. And when you have a good friendship with some people, it's really tempting to not want to go to a tournament with them. I mean, that's a really good experience to have with your friends.
Yeah. Great work from Queen too. I believe she's the only female representation in the entire top 12 here. So great to see her just supporting, being as strong as she is. She's an incredibly talented player.
She, as far as female competitors go, she's probably the best.
I think she is
all of Halo for sure.
Was Bittersweet not one of the top ones at one point too? And I'm not sure if she's obviously not playing anymore.
She was really good at marketing herself.
That's a big part.
And I think that probably took priority for her. Whereas Queen is just like, she's like a dude, man. She is like, I'm gonna whoop everybody's ass. I don't give a, she's just like, she comes out, she's got her, little cockiness going on. She's like, I'm the best in the room. And she actually can prove it. She actually
is really good.
Yeah, she's really good. She makes intelligent team-based plays. Is she that person that's gonna like make the biggest clutch play and do psycho things against the professionals? Probably not. But she is definitely out of all the females I've seen throughout the years, and I've competed against her too. I've played with her, I've competed against her, I've casted over her, and she's always impressed me. So I definitely would put her as somebody that definitely deserves the spot she's in right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely agree. Last two here are Carnage Gaming and Side Effect, and I recognize a lot of the names in Carnage. You got Hoaxer, Eli Elite, Lifestyle, and Sorel.
I played against Sorel in a Halo 5 tournament. He was with like Demon D, and he did really well. Like
same with Eli Elite.
That guy's pretty good. Yeah. It was Eli Elite, Sorel. Like they've been playing together a lot. Yeah. Lifestyle's always been super solid. He was my practice noob back in Halo 3. Like we'd have like hotel LANs, and I think he was like 13 at the time.
Wow.
And and he would play with us, and he had a good shot, but he didn't really know like movement or whatnot, and then all of a sudden he like became this sniping god. Yeah. And he got picked up by my buddy who used to LAN with him out in Arizona, and I think he placed like third at an MLG combine, which was pretty awesome, and he did really well at that. And then he got picked up by Optic in Halo 5, and he became Optic Gary, and he's just outstanding. Like Gary is very, very good, and Eli Elite, obviously we've seen him play throughout the years. He got third in that Halo 5 free-for-all tournament a long time ago, which was
right.
pretty impressive. He beat Snipe Down and all those big names. Like, I forgot who got second. I think it was like Stellar.
Okay.
But yeah, and then Hoaxer, obviously, big name.
Went
has
through
a
the
lot
coaching side of things for a while, though.
Sure,
too, so.
sure. Yeah, he's back from coaching, which is awesome to see. And, get to see what he's made of. He's also a local. He's brothers with Alumni, and I've gotten to team with him at a
He's an awesome
Microsoft
coach as well. Yeah.
Microsoft Store tournament, and we were whooping some butt in there, and that was good old fun. Two 30-year-olds walking in and being like, "Hey there, little kid,"
as it should be. Well, hey there, little kid sounds a little weird.
No,
but I get what you're saying.
It's a meme, man. You seen the meme?
What? Okay.
You haven't seen the meme, dude?
I probably have seen the meme, but I'm not sure.
Get out of here! Get out of here!
I'm terrible with the internet. Apparently, I gotta keep up with the memes. I do want to double back a bit though to the Trippy, Penguin, commonly Rain, Falcated, Shotzzy, Sabinator. We've got because the Trippy, Penguin, commonly Rain is the H5 squad. Same with like the Frosty, the Shotzzy, Falcated squad. But I feel like, especially considering their 2v2 performance, this could be one of your upset squads as well. And you said, I guess it's up to whether or not commonly Rain can also show up at that level.
Yeah, I mean, I know commonly is unreal. And, obviously Trippy and Penguin are just crazy good. So it's all up to Rain. Honestly, if Rain brings the heat, like I would put Rain as like a top 3 sniper in Halo 5.
In Halo 5, yeah.
Dude, he was wild with it.
Crazy with the sniper.
Like when he was on Liquid and he was just like dismantling the top teams with the sniper, I was jumping out of my chair every chance I got. And nobody was like hyped about it. And I'm like, Rain is absolutely destroying. What are you talking about? If he can bring that to Halo 3, it's done.
He would do these crazy like flick quick scopes that like nobody would do. Like I don't know, something about them was so fast and precise. Crazy. Yeah, he's doing some wild stuff with the sniper. I agree with you there. Overall, just a ton of incredible competitors here. A lot to look forward to with this event. Who do you think? Let's do a top 3 real quick. To start with Tox as the probable number 1. Maybe what do you think as the top 3?
Oh yeah, you can't go against Snakebite and Royal 2, man. Royal 2, I've been watching his stream a little bit, and he just, I don't know. There's no words to explain Royal 2, man. He is a freak. Like he is an abomination. Like the guy is so damn good.
So consistent too. They're all so consistent.
Sure, but Royal 2, that guy is another level to me. I think personally, I would put him at the top right now. Some of the shit he pulls off is just not even real. And obviously, Snakebite is always going to just clutch it and make it really difficult for you to win. So I'd put Tox at number 1. Yep. And then I'd put TBD number 2. There's going to be some close games. Hopefully, want to get see some entertainment.
Right.
And then, it's tough. It'd probably be between Aspire or TM. What does TM stand for?
Not sure. Actually, they just got their roster announcement. No, but they're.
Oh no! They're Fatal Ambition.
Yes, they're Fatal Ambition. Thank you.
Fatal Ambition or Aspire. I'd probably put that as like I'm not sure on that one. They could go third place right there. Either one of them.
Yeah. I'm pretty similar to you. I would say. Like the safest pick for number 1 is Tox, considering their dominance. However, I think almost just as likely could be them being upset by Eco, Frosty, Snipe Down, Ola, just considering how talented they are. And then I'd probably say TM or Aspires. I'm gonna give it to TM. Just because of how talented these guys are. When they're on, they're winning. They're like definitively winning against the competition. I mean, Trippy and Penguin made Snipe Down go. What was he like 2-15 or something?
Penguin was
last
not
match.
He
was not like shots that nobody would hit.
They
like
had
off the lift from under on R1, like in the head. It was crazy, dude. So if they're pulling off gameplay like that, then I'll put them as number 3.
Yeah, you can't really put anything on Snipe Down for that. Like once somebody's hitting shots like that, you just pretty much got to wrap that game up. And it just so happened to be the last game of the tournament. So
yeah. And though the environment's a little different, I know they were up very late. It was like the crack of dawn. It was like 5 a.m. I know that Penguin spent like a couple weeks, at least like a week, just like warming himself up on like Red Bull, like getting used to drinking it on like a semi-regular basis, so that his body wasn't shocked by drinking it at the event or whatever.
And you got to think like
they're putting
England have that advantage of their sleep schedule.
Sure,
they're 2 hours behind Snipe down and Ace.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, if you want to go lifestyle, like I don't know how far we're going here, but even
I mean, if the
working
tournament's
out
at 4 a.m. and the finals is at 6 a.m. or whatever, you got to bring that into account.
Right. But yeah, so this time it's a little more normal. We're going to get some regular tournament times. We'll see how that plays out. Especially with, I would assume you get a lot of warm-ups throughout the day as well, depending on how the structure of the event is. With pools.
You hear that, Tony? I hope so.
Yeah. So the really exciting thing about this tournament is, yes, this is the main attraction. We've got great players, great teams to look forward to, but we do also have a little bit of Halo 5, a little bit of Halo CE as well. Yeah. That I just wanted to touch on. I don't know all the Halo 5 squads. I don't think we have just like any kind of massive turnout as far as squads go, but we do have some great names who I believe are confirmed, and we'll see as the event goes, because I know that Halo 5 and Halo 3 could kind of cross scheduling with each other, so we'll see how that plays out. But we have players like Shotzi and Renegade, Trippy and Penguin, and Saiyan and Neptune are kind of like my top 3 squads to look at for Halo 5.
Saiyan and Neptune, I can't wait to watch them.
Yeah, I know Denoxide has been grinding a lot as well. I think he's playing with what's his name? Pestilence? I should know his name. And I'm blanking on it now. But
I haven't seen Denoxide playing, so I wouldn't know.
Okay, all right, that's fair. So what do you think for H5 as far as kind of some of these names that I mentioned here?
Well, obviously Neptune being back for Halo 5 is awesome, because Neptune was one of the top talents we saw. Him placing top 4, top 3, which was great to see newcomer. His attitude was rough around the edges, so I'm sure he is matured a little bit now, which is going to help him in tournament play.
Sure.
Then we've got Saiyan, who to me was like at one point one of the best individual players in the game of Halo 5. He was just grinding more than anyone and looked outstanding. But they I don't know if they choked or what, but I think that was his first time in the finals when he finally got to it at that last event. Mm-hmm. So if he had more preparation in being in a finals, maybe they could have made something work there. But being in a finals for the first time and having to upset Tox, I mean that's
yeah. Absolutely. That's the thing is, like, if I go by peak level skill, so if I say like, Shotzi and Renegade when Splice was winning Worlds, like if they were playing at that level right now going into this 2v2, then I'd give the edge to them maybe, right? But
absolutely.
But if you take a look at how things have gone historically, like Saiyan has been grinding this game like nobody else has as far as, what's remaining of the pro players. I would say Saiyan is the number 1 Halo 5 player right now.
Ooh, okay.
He's still playing it, and he's still incredibly talented, and he's very consistent. So I feel like my expectation is that he should have kind of like the, not necessarily the advantage, but I would expect him to be up there in that number 1 spot. And Neptune is incredibly individually talented. Neptune didn't quite get that spotlight that Shotzi got, that Frosty got, because I don't think he really kind of came in until the very end. He's the youngest, I believe, out of all of these guys as well. Had Halo 5 continued, I wonder where he would have gone, because he is just so incredibly talented. So now he's back, and he's been grinding in the background as well. So he's been doing well. He's been tilting the other guys as well. Like Renegade, I've been watching his stream, and Renegade's been getting so annoyed with Neptune because he just keeps re-challenging, ego challenging, and winning the ego challenge like every time. And Renegade, for whatever reason, just not ready for it. Always getting upset about it. So he's been playing well.
Renegade in his prime, like when he was dominating Tox, and it was Stellar, Eco, and Shotzi. Renegade was that guy on the team that he would be the ego challenger. He'd be the guy that was just flying out and knew he was going to hit his shots and knew he was better, and just, he was that guy that you should worry about. So I'm thinking that play style has never left, and he's going to be playing just like that. But he's at this situation now where he's not the best anymore. So he's getting frustrated at it. So as soon as he reaches that level that he was at before, I think it's not going to be an issue anymore. And once he hits land in that tournament environment, and he's got Frosty next to him, and he can screen watch,
yeah.
You know, the connection is just perfect. You know,
Yeah.
Did I say Shotzi or Frosty?
Said Frosty, but that's fine.
He's teaming with Frosty, right? No, he's teaming with
Shotzi.
So it's Renegade and Shotzi. Well, who's the other team?
Trippy Penguin saying Neptune.
Oh, okay. Wow, Renegade
Frosty,
and Shotzi.
Yeah, Renegade and Shotzi is still incredible, right? And the only issue is they've just not been playing Halo until recently.
Right.
But they've been putting time in. They've been getting better and better. I'm sure they'll be back to form, come AC. So we'll see how that goes.
Preparation. So I mean, if Saiyans really putting in the time and Neptune gets there, it'll be tough to beat.
Yeah, Trippy Penguin actually won the last Halo 5 2v2. Saiyan, Neptune, Shotzi, Renegade, they weren't there, but over in Europe, they won it pretty handily. Apparently, we never got to see any gameplay.
Yeah, but who was their competitor?
I know. I think it was all European teams. There's still some very talented players there, though.
All right,
but
just
the fact that they could jump from H3 to H5 and continue to dominate back and forth without too much, external experience or whatever is great to see. I'm sure they're trying to put. Actually, to be honest, they're competing in Halo 3, so I don't know how much they're spending on Halo 5, like kind of jumping back and forth. We'll see what happens with them. But yeah, overall, just seeing Halo 5, kind of make it to broadcast on Sunday, something to break down, something different to watch as well in the 2v2 format. I feel like Halo 5 really shines.
Yeah, it's going to be great,
2v2,
honestly. And then the announcement of no radar. I think no radar works exceptionally well
in 2v2.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that because the reason I say that is because of the sound. When there's 6 more people on the map, or I'm sorry, how many people?
4 more people.
4 more people on the map. Whoops, I can't math. But when there's that many more people on the map, the sound is going to be all wonky, and the sound is really where it helps because Halo 5 just has tremendous sound. I mean, you can hear footsteps, you can hear the thrusting, you can hear the sprinting. So it's just a big deal to be able to use that to your advantage and really focus on that instead of the radar.
Absolutely. Yeah. It really shines in the 2v2 when you have that space and also you have counters to making noise, like the stutter stepping that people are doing as well. So you get a little bit of an interesting dynamic there that you never see. You don't see stutter stepping very much in a 4v4. It's just kind of, almost pointless considering how fast gameplay is constantly.
Right. You're just wasting time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is going to be interesting. And then we also have Halo CE, which is always exciting to watch as well. I've been learning a lot about Halo CE recently. This is an incredibly technical, incredibly challenging Halo game, very different from the other titles too, and that's the beauty of Halo is like it's all of these Halos have something about them that kind of makes them very competitive, very challenging. And for Halo CE, you've got the spawns and the nades that are ridiculous and the launching weapons.
Oh man, hey, if you ever need help, if you ever got questions, let me know, dude. We'll spend a night playing some MCC Halo 1. And,
I'll get slapped, dude. MCC is
you'll
not the
get
true
slapped
way,
around.
I gotta play the original.
I will
Xbox.
carry you. It'll be okay.
All right. It would actually be cool to sit down and play on the original controller and
it's the best, dude. You're gonna play it
on the CRT.
AC, and
all right, I'm gonna probably get destroyed and hate life.
No, it's not probably.
It will get destroyed. Okay, but as far as competition there, I know Patch and Legend are very dominant.
Oh yeah.
Any expectation that anybody else would be the winning team? They're kind of like the Talks in their own field.
No, they're
even
better.
Worse.
There's a much bigger skill gap in Halo 1. The thing about Halo 1 is that it's been out so long and it's adapted in so many different ways, and people have stopped playing it. Like a lot of people have stopped playing it, whereas Patch and Legend are like, this, to hell with that. I'm going to keep playing this game.
Why stop?
This is the greatest game ever made because I mean that's how we feel. I literally feel like Halo 1 is the greatest game ever made. Why would I want to play anything else? So I play with my friends still. We get together every now and then. They're all married with children. So, it's a little bit harder for them to get some time off and to get together. But, we grab drinks, we have a pizza, and we have a night of it. And it's amazing. That one experience beats the months and months of me grinding some online game here in my room.
Yeah. Yeah, it's never the same as those basement lands on CRTs, and you actually get to make friends like locally and have some camaraderie and whatnot, rather than I sign in online and I'm by myself with a computer screen.
I mean, it's good to have that too, but
it is.
It's so great. And honestly, a lot of people don't get to experience it, and I feel bad for them. Like you said originally in the beginning of this interview, I am very blessed to be in a location. First of all, on the East Coast of the United States, that's where the most Halo players are, period. Right. And then, I'm blessed to be in Atlanta because Atlanta's had a lot of activity. We have a huge amount of players. I've been able to go down to Florida. I've been able to go up to Virginia and play against the best players in the world at Halo 1. So I'm just very fortunate, and I just love the scene. The Halo 1 scene has a great group of people that do so much for it. I don't know if you watched. Did you watch the Beachland?
I didn't. No, I've heard all about it. I've seen like clips of it here and there, but I didn't watch the recent one though. No,
dude, it's so great, and and they're pretty much all coming to this event, and they're great people. So you'll get to meet a lot of them.
Looking forward to it.
And it's very competitive, and it's like I said, the greatest Halo.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna find out, man. We're gonna watch some actual gameplay. I get to watch it like live at the venue, which is exciting. So just the mix of different Halos is something to look forward to, guys. You got Halo 3 as the highlight of the show, and then you got Halo 5, you got Halo CE. There's like 6, I think, separate broadcasts where it's going to be showcased. Oh my
dear Lord.
It's everywhere. Yeah, we've got the mainstream, but you also have the 4-way POVs, and I highly recommend you guys check those out. If you're watching like competitive and you get to see all 4 members of a team at the same time, it's a whole new experience. You can see how the team plays work. And who really goes off. Yeah, you don't miss anything. Of course, in the casting, you get one POV. You miss some cool stuff that happens in the background, so you get to really experience it all. So just, tons of reasons to tune in for Atlantic City this weekend. And I think that covers everything. I do have the recent tweet with Nated that I thought maybe we could look at. What are you thinking? Did you want to?
Well, I love how pros get outspoken about things, and then immediately certain things get fixed, which is awesome. It goes to show that the top players need to be a lot more outspoken about the settings, because they are, that's why there's a pro team at 343. People are going to listen to you if you are at the top. If you are one of those guys who's been placing at the top for so long, what's good for the Halo settings. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's definitely not wrong. Now, I would say sprint, as far as like in the story mode or something you can acquire in Warzone, like buy. I think that is awesome. I think that's a cool aspect, something to boost your speed, a speed booster. That's awesome. I don't have a problem with that. It's when it starts to mess with the map design, and that's very much what he is saying. Is the arena style shooter is being affected by this one aspect. And that is an issue, because what all of this does, clamber, sprint, all of those things, is it basically assists the people that couldn't do what we could do before. We could easily make some crazy ass jumps in the middle of a competition, and it would be outstanding because of the difficulty. But now it's like, oh, well, there is no difficulty because the game is actually giving you that. It's assisting you, and it's like a handicap. It's dumbing down the game. But that's besides the point. The number one issue is the maps. The maps are far better when you don't have when the guy that's making it, the designer, is like, oh, well, this is how these players are going to move around the map.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a matter of better or worse. I just say it's different, more so, right? So you're saying like all these abilities kind of assist you, and I guess at surface level, that's kind of what they seem like they're doing, right? But once you get to peak level play, you realize these abilities kind of just created a different Halo that's incredibly challenging, incredibly competitive. It takes immense amounts of individual skill, but in different areas, like you using these mechanics in different ways. It's not just about making that one jump that you can clamber. It's about, did you spring jump, spring thrusted, perfectly hit your shots, do a drop back clamber or whatever. Like, you're combining everything together, and how that all works is challenging, but it changes the game. And that's where I think I can kind of side with Nate and understand his perspective. I've been thinking of this scenario over and over in my head. It's just this basic multiplayer scenario. Let's say you have in the pit in Green Hall, and this kind of happens a lot. Where in classic Halo, in the pit in Green Hall, you spot a player, you shoot him 3 times. Let's say his shields pop, he gets behind cover, tosses a nade at the wall to stop you from chasing him. In Halo 3, you can't chase him. He threw that nade. You can't try to jump over the nade, walk through. You're going to blow up and die. It's just a dumb play. So what ends up happening is you kind of stand there, you throw a nade of your own, you hold the position, you decide if you want to wait to challenge for a second or maybe back off, get information, call it out to your teammates. It creates this strategic dynamic. It slows the pace of gameplay, and it creates this like, okay, we know he's here. How are we going to make our play? How are we going to work together to assault this spot, whatever it is, right? It kind of changes the flow of gameplay. Now, in Halo 5, throw a sprint and a thrust into the mix. Somebody tosses that nade at the wall. You can sprint, slide jump over the nade, and challenge the guy immediately, right? So what does that mean for gameplay? It's like, yes, you can be more aggressive. There's still risk associated. If you sprint, slide jump, and you try to kill this guy, there's still players on that side of the map who can take you out. You might not win the fight. He might still have his thrust. He can counter thrust. Like there's a whole interplay that happens there. The gameplay, I think, does become faster as a result of the option, though, because you have the option to be aggressive. You get very fast, intense gameplay. The issue is that it changes the game because when you have a team like Splice is going to go for the aggro option 9 times out of 10. Like in Halo 5, yes, you can sprint, slide jump. You don't have to. You can back off. You can play the standard way. But because you have a team like Splice that's so aggressive, so confident, and so good at the game, they're just going to continue to choose the aggro option. So then the game doesn't become about the traditional aspect of control the map, control power weapons. It becomes about who can play faster, who can be more aggressive, who can collapse faster, and you just continue. It creates the snowball effect, right? It's more about how can I dominate the entire map by getting to every single location and just nonstop speed and getting in your face and always choosing the aggro option because I'm so confident, because I'm so talented. So it changes the game fundamentally. It becomes less about those core strategies of just control high ground, control power weapons, you win Halo. And that's why I see the issue. If you get what I'm saying.
Well, I do get what you're saying. In a simpler way,
that's a very small scenario. Of course, there's many other types of things.
Yeah, in a simpler way, that definitely applies from what you just gave an example of.
Yeah.
But I would say that there's a lot of little minute details that were mixed in there across all the Halo titles that really, you got to mention first. Like, for instance, in Halo 1, you couldn't go through a barrage of grenades, or you did die because the grenades were so powerful. But, excuse me, in Halo 3, you could go through a barrage of grenades because it's just going to make you fly up into the air, and it's going to push you up with maybe half shields or, low shields, and you're still going to be able to get that headshot on that guy if you hit your shot, and you'll be able to kill him. So it did speed up the game, whereas in Halo 1, a lot of people would say that it's, it would slow it down. But that's not the case. The speed of the game isn't how fast things are going on the screen. The
number of interactions,
of the game
frequency of interaction
is up here. It's about how many things you have to, keep track of. Like what are you going to do next? How many moves have you thought of already? And I just think when you enter all these other variables in there, that's when it starts to slow down the game. Not the opposite. Not when you simplify the game. When you simplify the game and you have it at a certain point, especially when there's power weapons involved and they're very strong. When you have very strong power weapons, like in Halo 1, where the rockets are pretty much a guaranteed kill unless you're like whipping it into the sky, that really can speed up the game something tremendous. And it's pretty amazing to see. Like, I know the Halo 5 player from Europe, Batchford. He played Halo 1 for a little while, and he never really got the chance. But when he sat down to play it, he really started to understand why the speed of like how much you have to think and exactly what you need to be looking out for. Everything got faster. The game just got way more overwhelming. Like, yes, in Halo 5, you need to whip around, you need to clamber up here, you need to jump off this, you need to do this. There are things that you need reaction time to be very quick at, but that didn't really have much to do with the game itself, in my opinion. That's all fancy movement speed. That's all the speed of your character, not the speed of the actual gameplay itself. Does that make sense?
Well, okay, so you're thinking about a lot less in Halo 5. That's one thing, is they kind of spoon feed you a lot of information, right? You know where the power weapons spawn.
Absolutely.
It's pretty easy to kind of predict where players are going to spawn. The spawn system makes a lot of sense. It's you can kind of manipulate that. So the actual physical speed of the game, I would say, is definitively faster, though. The 1v1s, the flying into battles, the options that you have at your disposal, they're crazy. Nonsense. Which really kind of puts the onus on those players who are very technically skilled. You're very quick, very technical, very fast.
It's like a fighting game. Whoever can have the more combos and the timing. Like, for instance, when you're in a 1v1 pistol battle and one player can hold himself together long enough to wait for that other player to make the first thrust. You know, it's always going to be the first player to make the thrust. That's the guy that's going to lose the battle. Yeah. Most of the time, the person to thrust first is going to lose, because then you have your cooldown and you're ready to dodge his final shot, and you're going to make the shot. I mean, when it comes to like the highest level of gameplay, usually that's the way it works. So, you know, when it comes down to that, yeah, sure, that's all about speed and reaction time and all. But did it really mean that you outthought your opponent?
Yeah, in overall strategy, there's less of that thinking. Exactly, is what I'm saying. So there's less onus on the traditional strategic elements of Halo, basically, is why, and which is why I'm saying, where is the middle ground here, where it's not too much about the individual skill of one player and the speed of his movements and just getting in your face and being aggressive and collapsing, and the strategy can take more of an important position like it has historically, while still having some speed. So I was thinking of, like, basically, and this is just an arbitrary thing, but like, let's say scenario 3, where you don't have a sprint, but you have a thrust in scenario 3. So you're in the green hall still. They throw nades to stop your approach, but now you can jump thrust over those nades. By jump thrusting over those nades, you can still get the kill, you can still be aggro, but now there's more risk associated with your decision. They have a counter thrust on you, they can kill you more easily, whatever it is. You also can't immediately escape because you burned your thrust, you committed yourself. So kind of something like that. Can we make it so that there's more risk associated with aggro moves that propel you horizontally, or there's less horizontal propulsion in general? Because I think that's what kind of, like, you know, completely changes the flow of everything. So that they can put more emphasis on the strategic elements that make Halo Halo. I think that there's a happy medium there, and I'm wondering what's the best way to get there. I was also thinking, like, horizontal propulsion is kind of the main, not necessarily issue, but the main difference between Halo 5 and Halo 3 is that you can thrust slide and fly places. If instead, is there a way that they can put the mobility focus on verticality rather than on horizontal movement? So can you have something that gives you a quick jump upwards? That's not a jetpack, that's within reason. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, lifts. We have portals. We have ladders. We have, you know, we've had it all in Halo 1. So, in Halo, in pretty much all the Halos, there's been something to help you to get to the top. You didn't need an ability. And I think that's what Nated really was saying, is that these abilities just aren't necessary. Good map design is necessary. We haven't had good maps in a long time. There's been a remake of Midship, which is Truth, and it's been in Halo 3 as well. It's Heretic. Yeah. And you know, that's one of the greatest maps ever made in a shooter. I love that map. So yeah, we've had remakes that are great, but as far as an original idea for a map, you really can't say we've had anything good since Halo 3.
I think Coliseum CTF is pretty good, but I mean, like, so yeah, it's hard to say that there are any maps in Halo 5 that kind of go down in history as being this, like, incredible spectacle of a map. You know what I mean? But I also wouldn't say the maps are bad necessarily. I think there are a few solid maps.
I would say, you know, there's some good ones and there's some absolute trash ones. But, you know, there definitely are some good ones that we've had in Halo 5. I enjoyed playing I mean, a lot of people hated Fathom, but I liked Fathom. You know, we had some good ones, but has there been any great maps since the original trilogy? Which, I mean, just to say it, the original trilogy didn't have sprint, didn't have any of the abilities, and that's because, you know, designing, you know, the game and the map around the abilities just really screws things up.
Yeah, which I don't know. So basically, Does a Halo game need to have abilities to be amazing? Absolutely not. You could take it all out and Halo could still be amazing, and we know that. At the same time, though, can you have a Halo game with a whole conglomerate of abilities that's high speed, that's still very competitive, still very fun, and works, is balanced at the top
Halo
level
5.
of play? Halo 5. So, and you also have an audience of people who love that as well. So that's what I'm thinking is like, now you have two communities. I feel like people need to understand and respect both sides and see if there's some way that both sides can work. Because I do think that most people will tell you Halo 5 is a good game in its current state. It just took too long to get to where it is now. Well, at the same time, classic Halo is still and always will be amazing. So, and I do think, you know, as much as I understand the need to go all the way back and kind of, you know, take advantage of, you know, what was so great about classic Halo, I think some innovation needs to happen. And I think
I don't think we're going to go all the way back. I don't think that at all. But I do believe that there will be a middle ground where we can adjust the settings, because that's what we did for Halo 2 and that's what we did for Halo 3.
Give us the options. Yeah, give us more.
And it's on PC. So, you know, we're going to be able to adjust stuff on PC. And we're going to have like full capability of making our own maps even better. Yeah. So I have a strong, confident belief in our community that designs maps. I think we have some great map designers who are going to do some awesome things with the new Forge for Infinite. Yeah. And so I think Halo 6 is just going to really bring that into the mix. Exactly what you're saying. Have the option of having the abilities. We get to test it out. We get to have like a few months of where we just see what works. And then we find out exactly where we need to be, and we do it a lot faster. Exactly what you said. Like Halo 5 took too long. We need to get to that a lot faster. Like we had radars and assault rifles and ground pound for too long.
That was terrible. Yeah. Yeah, that would honestly just be the biggest thing. And yeah, like you're saying, even just having the option to kind of, you know, toggle things on and off and seeing how that plays out. And the fact that Halo would probably operate in a season format, so maybe things would change and get modified as time goes by. You constantly have pro teams testing different settings and whatnot. Oh, yeah, and that could keep things exciting too. So Halo could enter this kind of malleable state where every aspect of it is special in its own way, and competitive is just, okay, what, you know, combination of you know, tools are we going to put together to make just this competitive playlist?
That's it.
I think that would kind of be it. It's like Halo Infinite is just this infinite platform. It's like, you want to play this classic style of Halo, it's available for you. You want to play the advanced. The issue is the maps and how they have to scale to meet the needs of these abilities. I'm wondering how Forge is going to be able to work with something like that. If there's a way that you can just, like a slider bar, just expand and decrease maps in a second, just depending on what you have or whatever, if that's even a possibility to think about. But it does get a little complex when you have like sprint and no sprint, and the maps have to expand to kind of deal with that.
Right.
Though I do think if 343 was to just say there was no sprint, I think that would be a very safe and effective play for their brand, to just say it's not there. And I would challenge them to try to innovate and make the game, you know, really holistically kind of approachable and exciting to everybody, whether it was advanced or a classic player, without sprint included. I think it would be a cool challenge for them to try to innovate.
Here's my issue with that. And now, as much as I love the classic Halos, I got to say that I think sprint is a necessity in the current market, because
little Timmy or whatever, that argument.
Little Timmy, man, new generations of players, they sprint in Fortnite.
You need to press that. See, I hate that, because click left stick should always be crouch. Yeah, it's just crouch is the fundamental mechanic in Halo that helps you move, not the sprint button. I hate how the controller is remodeled to say, oh, you should click left stick to sprint, when it's always been better on crouch anyway. So
but anyways, like, it just, that is a requirement to you want to grab as many people into our community as possible.
Sure.
And you want to keep them there, you know, you want to keep them enthralled in Halo, and whether they're going to play the sprint playlists and the sprint, you know, and have fun with their sprint game types, you know, let them. So what? Because meanwhile, the top professionals and all the people that want to be competitive are going to learn how to play this way, the way that we know is best for competitive Halo, the one that's the most fun to watch. You know, like, there's a very, very important aspect of not being able to have a get out of jail free card, like, which is thrust or sprint away. You know, like, if you get caught out in the middle of a map, you shouldn't be able to just instantly disappear. You should be punished because you had bad positioning.
Sure. Yeah. And that's another aspect of, how they should work with these abilities in the future, is balancing that risk versus reward kind of threshold, is that you should be punished harder for being out of position rather than, in Halo 5, you could play from bottom mid on truth, and that could still be an acceptable play, but you would never see that in any other Halo.
Well, they did a good job with the whole
it was well balanced, I would say, in the
your
context of Halo 5, but
not getting your shield back. That was pretty good. I like that. There was
the stopping power too, like the fact that you get crippled if you don't hit full sprint speed is like another kind of cool aspect.
So there's a lot of great things that we've been seeing. It just, it's all about experimentation. It's all about working together, and Nated being vocal, just like Snakebite being vocal, like making sure that we stay, productive with our conversations. Make sure that it doesn't turn into a 3-4-3 roast fest, which is ridiculous.
Exactly.
Because then they, what happens? They do this.
Yeah.
And that's not going to help anything. A person with really, really good opinions will never get them across because he's screaming at the people that can do something about it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So I think in the end of the day, it's good that we're discussing this stuff. We should continue to discuss it and, be civil, no animosity towards anybody. If you want something to happen, discuss it, have valid points to back it up, and let's get that conversation going. And hopefully 343's next title is just flexible enough that it can kind of, take advantage of all of these things that we're looking for. And we can all kind of work together to build this ultimate Halo experience, especially in the competitive playlists.
And if you're someone who wants to get that across to the creators or to some professionals or just the community in general, like we're getting some amazing content right now. Like, some of the best Halo content I've ever seen, period, is coming out right now. Like we are absolutely stepping up and in a big way. And it's amazing to see. It really warms my heart to see that all these Halo players are getting up on YouTube, on Twitch, and they're doing their thing, because this is the time to do it. This is the time we need them to do it. We've got some great leaders in the community that are making sure it happens, like producers and editors behind the scenes that aren't, like any forefront voices, but they're assisting. Like we've got the people that are, giving money in the Twitch channels, and everywhere people are excited about Halo, and there's just not a competitive outlet yet. And we've got Atlantic City, obviously, but as far as like a professional league or, massive events like we used to have, it's not there yet. And I really feel like we are working towards that, and it could happen. But if people stay vocal, if you have an issue with, letting your emotions get to you, then write a letter or make a video, because people will help you to do it, and make sure that, it's not like super antagonizing. Make sure it's it's just chill, calm, and you get your points directly across. You don't have to make a big rant about it. You can just make it 3 or 4 minutes and say, hey, this will really help Halo, and this is why I think that. And boom, you've got great content, and you're also getting your opinion heard. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the time, like right now, is the best time for that too. We have the discussion starting. We have all the inklings of Halo making its comeback. I mean, you got Ninja, you've got, even before the show, we were talking about MLG kind of dismantling, but the hope that there might be some sort of a future MLG Halo kind of combination or something. Just in general, there's a lot to kind of be excited about, and you can see it happening. You can see that comeback, the success just kind of instantly taking form with everything that's been going on. So
Puckett's a free agent.
Nice, yeah.
MLG leader Adam Apicella. Yeah, he's the dang.
They all love Halo. Yeah.
They're all available, and they all love Halo. So it's like, and meanwhile, Sundance sipping on his Mai Tai, and he's like, you know what? Maybe I might help. Who knows? We've got a lot of things floating in the air right now. It's never been a more exciting time. We've got so many dreams and hopes for Halo 6 and UGCs. I'm ready for this event.
It all starts with Atlantic City this weekend, man. That covers everything I wanted to chat about. The rest is just wait and see and cross our fingers and just be along there for the ride, man. I really hope it makes that comeback. I'm confident that it will, and I'm glad to have you with me as we kind of experience this, man. We're going to start with Atlantic City and just kind of see see where it goes. Hopefully, we also get DreamHack Atlanta and subsequent events to come. But yeah, that's everything for today's show. Knighty, thank you for tuning in. I know you had to drive like 3 to 5 hours just to get home in time and everything. But appreciate you, man. Looking forward to seeing you this weekend.
This was fun. Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. All right, guys, that'll close our show. And we, of course, have our Grassroots giveaway as usual, ! Grassroots in the chat for a chance to win the BR skin and nameplate. I believe Tony will have that winner for me. And we'll get that over to you. There is D. Doris with the win for the BR nameplate and Grassroots skin. Enjoy that. They should be sending that over to you, and you can rep your new goodies. And that'll close the show for today. Of course, we've also got our merch. You guys can check that out as well. Anything that you purchase here not only supports the show, it supports me, and I would highly appreciate that. Let's get right onto it, guys. This weekend, Atlantic City, we're like 3-4 days away. This is going to be an awesome weekend. I hope you guys tune in. Halo 3, Halo 5, Halo CE. Can't wait to check it out and can't wait to see you guys there.